Blog Talk Radio.
We interrupt this broadcast for an emergency announcement. A massive earthquake. The flood has reached. All roads into and out of are closed. No medical services. Store shelves have been stripped.
What's coming? Are you ready? You are at the right place to hear the best ways to stay safe and weather the coming storm. Welcome to Power Preppers. Here is your host, Patricia Baker.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Power Preppers. I am your host, Patricia Baker, and my mission is to make getting prepared for any emergency easy and efficient. So get smart and get prepared. And please remember to sign up for our newsletter, which you can find a sign up at supernaturalgirls.com. And there you will get all the latest show information on both Power Preppers and Supernatural Girls Radio. Now, this Saturday on Supernatural Girls Radio, we will be offering free readings with world-renowned psychic medium Helene Olson from 9 to 10 p.m. And then at 10, we are going to be speaking with very famous witch, Lori Gibson, about Haunted Salem. So be sure to join us Saturday night, 9 to 11 Eastern Time. It's going to be a really fun show. And today we have our terrific guest back, our security expert, Steve Minguez, who will be talking with us this afternoon about personal security armaments like Sabrered Pepper Spray, as well as rings of security for your home. And I just want to read an interesting statistic to you. Home invasions occur every 14.5 seconds in the USA. And there's a new trend that's developing internationally as intruders rob you while you sleep and leave with your former possessions by means of your automobile. So this is an important show. We need to know how to stay safe personally and how to keep our home safe. And let me just tell you a little bit about Steve Minguez. He is a former member of the New York City Police Department with 27 years' experience as a Senior Firearms Instructor and member of the Intelligence Division Dignitary Protection Unit. Steve was Senior Instructor in charge of the Emergency Service Unit for 12 years. He developed numerous training programs that included advanced firearms training, hostage rescue, dignitary protection, counter-assault, team tactics, CQB training, sniper training, active shooter, waterborne operations, and interagency operations. So he's done it all. So his experience in the private sector, which is you and me out there, includes personal protection and security consultant to various executives and public figures. So let's welcome to the show security expert Steve Minguez. Steve, welcome. You're live on the air.
Good afternoon, Patricia. How are you?
I am great. How are you doing?
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Well, it's a pleasure having you back. My goodness, we had a big response to all of the wonderful information that you gave to our audience last week, and here you are again, thank goodness, to help us with personal armaments, which is what we're going to start with, and then we're going to move into rings of protection for our homes. So let's start with this pepper spray idea. The Sabrered is a great company, and they've got all kinds of pepper spray available for people, and I know you do have to have some type of license for that. Is that correct?
Well, the majority of the United States does not require a license for it. Currently, I don't know what's on the board right now in the state of Massachusetts. The bill is trying to be passed by the Senate to do away with the licensing requirement. In particular to Massachusetts, as it stands, if you don't have the license, it's actually punishable by up to 2 years in prison. So when you're going to purchasing a device and utilizing the devices, two different things. And as in the state of Massachusetts, you're allowed to have it in your residence, but outside the residence can get you into hot water. So always check with your local laws prior to utilizing this stuff.
And what can people do? Can they call up their local chief of police and ask, what are the laws in my town about this?
You can call your local chief of police, state police. The Attorney General's office would be a great place to get some information from. I would not. Don't hang your hat on the internet because sometimes things are out of date. Also, you can get misinformation on there. So again, check with local law enforcement and your state Attorney General's office.
Okay, then that's what we will do. And now pepper spray is an interesting item to carry. And the thing is, it's so portable. It comes in very small sizes. I'm looking at the catalog right now from Sabrered, and that's sabrered.com. Is spelled S as in Sam, ABRERED.com. It's a great company. I know that you've worked with them before. And these things, you can put them on your keychain. You can keep them in your glove compartment. It's just a very light and easy thing to carry for personal protection.
Absolutely. Well, first off, people have to understand what pepper spray is, or OC spray is, as known as oleoresin capsicum. Essentially what it is an irritant that works on the mucous membranes, meaning your eyes, nose, your mouth and your lungs. Okay. The effects of it causes temporary blindness, meaning eye pain, causing your eyes to shut, coughing, sneezing. So it the main idea behind it, the use of it, is to give you that the possible avenue of escape once it's deployed.
Right. So this is not about a fight with somebody. This is about again distracting them or creating some distance between you and the attacker so that you can get away. Correct.
Okay. And again, you bring up a very good point. You're creating some distance between you and the attacker, hopefully. It always depends upon the scenario that you're in. You could be point blank to somebody. But if you've got that gap with your heightened level of awareness, like I was explaining last week,
that's right.
You're able to put that distance between you and that person. Now, with OC spray, people react differently when they're hit, okay, with it. Some people, what they'll do is they'll grab their eyes, okay. They'll panic due to their blindness, or some of the people even fall to the ground. But some people actually have become more violent, okay. And also some people could actually fight through it, and some people it has no effect on. So
really, oh my goodness.
It's not. Well, there's no device, whether it's lethal or not lethal, is 100%. Okay. The only surefire way to stop somebody immediately is to literally shut down their central nervous system, meaning separating their spinal cord from their brainstem. So, again,
sounds messy. So I think pepper spray would be the thing of choice if you can use it to get away.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful, wonderful tool. Okay?
And so now there are some techniques to using this, and you and I had been discussing this yesterday, and it was a fascinating discussion. So please enlighten our audience on the best ways to use this and how to be cautious in wind.
Well, right before I get into that, understand that the duration of effect / pain is going to be about 30 minutes to 45 minutes, okay? And also the product shelf life is for about 4 years, okay?
Oh, that's good to know for storage. So if the preppers want to sock this away for another rainy day when you need it, if something happens that's unspeakable, then you can keep this on the shelf for 4 years and it's still good. So that's good to know. Right.
Now, so far as the different types of patterns, okay, and Sabre even goes over this. If you're purchasing their product, you could actually watch their video, okay, online. and it's essentially knowing the pattern of spray. The patterns come in a stream, a cone, a gel, a fog, or a foam. Now, if you're dealing with a stream, okay, the advantage of the stream effect is that it's good for outdoors. Okay, it has least amount of effect of wind and rain. Okay, and with the device, you'd be aiming at the eyes, as with all of the different types of patterns. Okay, and it also too it affords you the greatest distance. Sabre, insofar as this stream goes, will recommend 10 feet. When I was teaching it with the New York City Police Department, we recommended a maximum of 12 feet. Okay, the cone pattern, picture it as a hairspray pattern. Okay, which is going to give you more of a coverage area. Okay.
All right.
And so with that cone, you're going to be aiming for the center of the face. Okay, and you're going to have these fine droplets of pepper spray coming out. Okay, but it's more affected by wind. Okay.
It's more affected by wind, so you could get a little bit of a backlash if it was a windy day.
Yes, correct. So you really have to know your environment, especially when you're dealing with this outside. Okay. Now the gels and the foams, okay, are really designed for an indoor use. Okay. There's less chance of less propensity of cross contamination. Okay. Now with the gel, you have a greater range. You have about 15 feet, which is pretty good. Okay. And
that is
pretty. Yes, and it's easy to clean up. Okay. And so far as the foam goes, again, you have less cross contamination. Okay, and it has an actual greater facial coverage. Okay, but the drawback to the foam is that is only for 8 feet max.
And so that is something to consider when you're trying to decide which one you're going to buy, because clearly you want to have as much distance between you and the person who was assaulting you or in your house or whatever they're doing that is not a good thing to be doing to you. You want a lot of distance there. So it's something to consider is how far this will reach.
Right. And, it's a wonderful idea, and I'm sure the company could provide it, is to get a training unit. And meaning in something inert, where you could literally practice, meaning knowing your product, what to expect, how to put it in your hand and handle it. So, if you can, definitely work with a training unit. Okay.
Yes, and they sell that too. I believe they have a training unit that they can sell to you, so you can practice, which is good.
Yeah. Now, so far as in one of the things that people should know in regarding deployment. Okay, is let's say with the stream, okay, Sabre, and rightfully so, recommends a side-to-side motion from ear to ear, okay, whether it's left to right or right to left. Okay, so you're going in that back and forth motion. Okay, I've spoken to you about this on a personal level. If a person is wearing glasses, the smart thing to do is to aim at their forehead, so the pepper spray will drip down into their eyes. Okay.
That's a great tip. A lot of people wouldn't know to do that, so that's a good one.
Yeah, and when you're deploying it, you're using your half-second bursts. And again, going back to knowing your product, you should know how many shots you have in your canister. Okay. Yeah,
because you could have more than one person that's in that group that's assaulting you. So, yeah, you need to know how much armament you have with your bottle of pepper spray.
Right. Now, going back to the stream pattern, they recommend, as I was saying, we recommended 12 feet as a maximum distance. Sabre recommends 10, with no less than 3 feet. Now, when we speak of no less than 3 feet with a stream, if you're less than 3 feet and you hit somebody in the eyes with it, it could cause what's known as a hydraulic needle effect, and you could actually cut the person's eyeball. Now, if I'm in a lethal encounter, I'm really not concerned about cutting a person's eyeball.
No, you shouldn't be. That's right.
But if I'm in a physical encounter with someone, and I want to be cognizant of the fact that I could, at a closer distance, actually cut their eyeball.
But again, these are situations. I mean, clearly a reasonable person has pepper spray and they feel they're under attack. They're only going to pull it out when they feel threatened and with good reason. So, again, that's the thing to keep in mind. And these are emergency situations. These are crisis situations where there's a lot of unknowns.
Well, getting ahead, a person who has it at the bottom of their bag, purse, knapsack, walking to their car in a parking lot at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's doing them no good. So, again, this goes back to a heightened sense of awareness and being prepared. Okay, you brought up the keychain device. The keys are in your hand, and you have the device handy, is ready for deployment. Okay, so again, if you're going to have it, make sure that it's going to be readily available. Okay?
And that's a great point, because it's true. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've searched for my keys at the bottom of my black hole, which I call a pocketbook, and it's very it's not only frustrating for me, but if there was somebody that was going to attack me, I wouldn't be ready. So it is important to have your keys in your hand and then have your pepper spray ready, whether it's on your keychain or it's in another hand. I mean, you really do need to have your hands free also as much as possible so that you can use this spray if you need to.
Right.
Well, I think it's a great self-protective item. I think it's one of the least frightening, I think, for women and also men to carry. It doesn't have the same issues that a gun has, but it's something that, again, can create enough time, hopefully, whether it's seconds or minutes, for you to get away.
Absolutely. Okay. And users of these products should be aware of the first aid background on it, if you will. If you're exposed to it, what we taught our police officers was time, air, and water. Okay, you have to flush out those eyes. You're going to want to really keep your eyes closed. It's going to feel like ground glass in your eyes, and you're really going to have to keep flushing out with a lot of water. Sabre actually makes a decontamination kit, so that's not a bad thing to look into either. Okay, it's a smart move. Okay?
Yeah, to have something on hand just in case you expose yourself by accident to the pepper spray. You'll have some way to get relief. That's a great idea.
Right. What people should not do is you've got a skin burn, and some people, the old wives' tale was, put butter on it.
Ooh.
Okay? Or some kind of an
oil.
Idea. Yeah, or wash it out with alcohol. No, not a good idea. Okay. Again, it's the method is time, air, and water. It's going to burn. It's really going to hurt. Okay. But again, you've got to keep flushing your eyes out. Okay, and that's it. That's really important. And so, keeping on the topic of first aid, if you are wearing contact lenses, make sure that you get those contact lenses out as soon as possible. Okay.
That's a good point. Yes.
We were given, when I was instructing, we were given information where doctors had said, if you leave those things in your eyes for, let's say, up to an hour or longer,
yes,
the contacts may have to be surgically removed.
Okay? Not fun. Okay, so take those contacts out right away.
Absolutely. Okay, and there's also been recommendation that you could literally wash the contacts and clean them off and reuse them again. Personally, I wouldn't do that. Okay?
No, I don't think I would either. They go right in the trash. I wouldn't take a chance.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not a good idea to reuse those contact lenses. Okay.
Very good point. And yeah, go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Okay. Again, knowing what you're dealing with is important. Okay. It's a smart idea to know that you're not supposed to use this on children, the elderly, or somebody with a known respiratory problem. Okay. If I was inside my house and I was dealing with a member of the family that was a severe asthmatic, I personally would not deploy OC spray. Okay? So again, know what you're dealing with. Okay?
Right. Know the limitations of the product and know the limitations of the person that you're dealing with, if you can. And again, you're talking about if you know the person, but if you don't, if this is a foreign attacker and you don't know who you're dealing with, it's another situation entirely.
Right. Okay. And law enforcement is also taught that when they being a civilian, you're not going to stick around, hopefully. But law enforcement is also taught that when they spray someone, once they're placed in handcuffs, don't lay them flat on their chest, due to the fact that you could actually cause positional asphyxiation. Okay? If you're hit yourself, again, try and calm yourself down. Get into an open area where you could, again, get some air. It's good, like I said earlier, it's going to take some time. And again, just keep flushing those eyes out. But don't do anything with your chest to impede your breathing. Okay, that's extremely important.
Okay, so you want to sit up, sit in a chair, do something like that, so you're not lying flat. And clearly, if you get accidentally hit with pepper spray, you can also seek medical attention and get some relief that way.
Right. Yes, I tell you, one of the great thing about it is that it doesn't require size or strength to use. Okay? You could be a small person who really is not that in great shape, and it's an equalizer.
Well, that's true. I mean, you could be disabled. You could be. I mean, again, all it takes is the ability to press the lever on this, and it's going to work. So that's a really good point. I love that, the fact that it's easy to use and you don't have to have any level of strength to use it. So that's a good thing to know. And I see they also have it for Sabrered. They also have it for bear. And certainly, up here in the wilds of Massachusetts mountains, we have a lot of bear. In fact, I sent you a picture of one of the 450-pounders we have up here, who luckily is more of a gentle bend so far. But again, to know that it could give you enough time to get away from a bear in an attack situation, that tells you a lot about the power of this pepper spray.
And it will also work on dogs. Okay.
Oh, okay. So God forbid you have a dog attack or something goes wrong there. Yeah, that's also good to know. And again, this is not something for people to use as a prank or a joke. It is not that. This is to be used in a state in a situation where you are being attacked and by someone who means to do you serious harm. And then you use it to get away, and that's it. You don't want to fight with this person unless you're a trained professional and you know what you're doing. And most of us are not there like you are, Steve. So it's using the pepper spray according to the company's directions, and then you get away as quickly as you can and call the authorities.
Right.
So that's great. Well, again, thanks for all of that information. And now let's see if we can move on to the home. And as you heard the statistic that I read, that's kind of a big change over the years with this home invasion stuff. I was surprised to read that myself, how often this is going on.
It's a pretty scary situation out there.
It is,
yeah.
and that's home invasion, and I didn't even talk about burglaries, which I know are also on the rise. So what do we need to know about keeping our homes, our families, our possessions safe?
Well, dealing with a home invasion, dealing with a burglary is a slightly different situation. Okay, Obviously a burglary could become a very forceful situation and lethal. But from a physical security standpoint, from a technical standpoint, doing a survey of your residence, okay, that's the first place to start. Okay, and when you're conducting a survey of the residence, what you're going to do is work from the outer perimeter all the way into the residence.
And what would you consider the outer perimeter? Is that like your driveway? Is that where your driveway starts and meets the road, or what's the outer perimeter?
Exactly. It's exactly where your property meets the road. Okay? Some people will put a fence in, a solid fence or a see-through fence. The consideration with the fence, solid fence, is what's going to happen is it's really going to be able to conceal the bad guys. So that's really not a smart idea. I would want something that's see-through, and the design and the height are going to determine if they can climb over it. Okay.
So a fence is something to consider for maybe, the outer ring?
Correct. The outermost ring.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And again, you don't want to have a product that's going to conceal the bad guys from doing what they're doing. Okay, you don't want to aid them.
No,
so
not at all.
having something that's see-through, and it's giving you enough height, and it's not going to enable the person to climb over it. I mean, I've seen these beautiful fences, and it was a cinch to climb over it. So, not a good idea. So when you're looking at it, ask yourself, hey, would I be able to climb over this? Right?
Right, and then, so you're implying here that someone, if they want to do a fence, they would also then probably have a gate. Otherwise, someone would just walk right up the driveway. So these fences that include a gate across the driveway. What
Absolutely.
do you think of those? You think that's a good idea?
I think it's a wonderful idea if you have that type of residence, and you're going to make a decision whether it's going to be electric or manual. And at the gate, I would definitely have an intercom system, and a camera. Sticking with the fence and the outer perimeter, it's definitely a smart idea to have cameras around the property. Okay, perimeter cameras. Let's say a camera, if you want to get high tech, something that would afford you auto track, okay, and with motion sensor, with alarm motion sensors.
And, you also brought up another really important point in our past discussions about security with having a camera at the gate, because I remember you mentioning, what if perpetrators come to the gate and they ask for entrance and you ask who it is and you don't have a camera there and they say it's UPS. How would you know it isn't? So you let them in and then you have just allowed these people to gain entrance to your property.
Right.
You've
definitely compromised yourself. Okay. And
so that's
in addition to the fence, that outer perimeter, okay,
mm-hmm.
you have to ask yourself these questions. Troubleshoot it. Okay. Do the trees and the bushes conceal the home? Okay. That's
right.
Another thing that's going to be a fantastic plus for the bad guys.
Yeah, giving them places to hide is not a good idea. So I know everybody wants their home to look, or a lot of people want their homes to look beautiful, but you also have to think about this other aspect. If you're going to have a lot of heavy shrubbery close to the house, then you are providing a place for them to hide themselves, and you won't be able to know they're there till it's too late.
Right. And with the cameras in the outer perimeter, or even the inner perimeter, you really should consider night vision capability. And so far as the motion sensors go, we all deal with wildlife, and it could become a real pain in the neck to have a motion sensor that's chronically tripping because the deer or the raccoon is crossing across your property. And
now, are you talking about this in relationship to cameras or in relationship to lights?
I'm referring to a sensor, an alarm
mm-hmm.
sensor, in addition to the camera.
I
see. On the grounds, that's going to alert you that someone has got into your perimeter.
I see.
And what a lot of people will do is they think it's a great idea. Hey, we have a sensor, we have an alarm sensor. It's giving us a heads up that someone's coming into the property. But when it's chronically going off because that deer or that raccoon is walking across the property, people will shut it off. Okay? It becomes a nuisance. So these are things that you have to take into consideration.
Right, and so you don't want to turn it off and then forget to turn it back on, because then it's going to defeat the purpose of having it to begin with. So it's an incredibly important point. And let's take this moment, Steve, to take a quick break and honor our sponsors. And then when we come back, I see there's a question here in the chat room, so I'm going to ask you this question next, and it is about security lights. So let's take a break. Everybody stay tuned. And if you have a question for Steve, please call in at 646-478-0828. We'll be right back.
Your property tax bill. Have you seen it lately? It's frightening. Your property taxes are going up while your home value is going down. It's time to fight back and win. For the real truth about the property tax system, get attorney Pat Quintilian's book, Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Attorney Quintilian answers all your questions and gives you the facts you need to fight a property tax bill that is spiraling out of control. You'll also read about what happens to property owners who don't check their property records, only to find out too late they're taxed on square footage, fixtures, and even buildings that they don't own. Is this happening to you? Learn your rights. Buy attorney Pat Quintilian's book today. Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Available on Amazon.com.
Are you ready for a new experience of freedom and powerful connection? Would you like a positive, effortless change in your life? Then come to CosmicFusion.com, where we offer the most advanced energy clearing and expansion techniques in the world, with a quantum vortex energy to activate your divine blueprint and life's purpose. When your soul leads the way with cosmic fusion and quantum vortex energy, you can break clear of past difficulties and blocks with the power of the source. With Cosmic Fusion, the source energy does the work for you. It's easy and effortless. Listen to our free meditation right from our Cosmic Fusion website, the Cosmic Code Meditation. Sign up for one of our interactive webinars today. Come to Cosmic Fusion, www.KOSMICfusion.com, to experience an effortless awakening and transformation. Are you ready for an upgrade? Are you ready for a new experience of living in the fifth dimensional magic and powerful connection? Then visit CosmicFusion.com today. CosmicFusion.com.
Sometimes life can be a challenge. Would you like insight and guidance to help you make the best choices right now? Contact Helene at angelslighthouse.com to make your personal appointment for a psychic reading or energy alignment. Helene is a direct channel to the angelic realm and is remarkably capable of connecting to the living as well as to your loved ones on the other side. Helene is available to clients all over the world via phone or Skype, and it's simple to set up a group reading anywhere. Visit angelslighthouse.com, where you'll find an easy way to schedule right online. And while you're there, sign up for the Angels Lighthouse newsletter and receive information on all the free energy circles, giveaways, and jewelry with a message. Visit angelslighthouse.com and contact Helene today.
Welcome back, everyone. We are speaking today with our security expert, Steve Minguez, and we are talking about rings of security. And, Steve, we were just talking about fences, security gates, cameras on the outside perimeter. And all of these things are good items that people should consider.
Yes, absolutely.
And so we have Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying we have a question here, and it's a good question, and it talks about another level of security here with lights. Now, I've thought about this myself. What about lights around the home? Here's the question. Isn't that showing the burglar the way in?
Well, what you want to do is being able to illuminate that whole area to be able to let these people know that, hey, you know what, someone's home. Hey, I understand that the burglars / bad guys, they do their homework. Everybody out there now has these motion sensors. Their lights are on a timer where the lights go on. But essentially what you want to do is you're playing a shell game. Hey, you're really trying to confuse the person and make the job that much harder and slow them down. So illuminating an adversary is, in my opinion, a very, very smart thing to do.
So having those lights, like floodlights, are a good thing to have.
When you're doing the light installation and going over with your installer, what I would do is I would make sure that I would have lights around the outer perimeter of the house. Okay, in addition to, when I say outer perimeter, I'm speaking about around the property, not just the lights that are attached to the house itself to illuminate close in.
And now, when you have the lights also on other places on the property, they shouldn't be pointing necessarily at your house. Shouldn't they be pointing away from the house so you can see them, but they can't see you?
You could actually. Some people don't want to have that prison effect to their residence. So the lighting could be actually positioned where it's pointing upward to the house, and again, it's illuminating it, but it's not shining into the windows of the home. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, that makes sense. Then you could use it to your advantage that way.
So what I would do is once the lights are installed, and they have to be positioned as such where we're not going to have any dark spots, and make your adjustments accordingly to position the lights.
So overall, lights are to our advantage. We want to illuminate the property because we want to illuminate the person if they're there on the property and shouldn't be. So okay,
absolutely.
So that answers
and
the question.
it's also an advantage for a person who's not going to step up to a quality night vision camera that well, night vision cameras, the quality of night vision could be grainy sometimes. So having that area illuminated and being able to videotape, take a picture of someone is definitely going to help with photography.
Yes, and because I've seen those videos and photographs myself, I'm like, gosh, I don't even know what I'm looking at sometimes because the quality isn't there for the infrared. But I know that a lot of these cameras are changing rapidly in their technology. But it just makes so much sense. If you can have lights, then do install them and use them.
Yes.
So now we're getting, so let's say, because I know, let's say the perpetrator is walking a little closer to the house. They made it past the security gate, and they see the lights and they don't care, and they're moving forward. What's the next line of defense that you would recommend here for a homeowner?
Well, again, when you go outside your house, do an assessment of around the home itself. Cut back any shrubs that are around the house to avoid, again, concealing the bad guy. Mm-hmm. You may also want to install exterior cameras around the house. When I say around the house, I'm talking about actually attached to the home itself.
So they could actually train those cameras out on the driveway near again, we talked about the gate camera, but anything that can spot movement around your property and capture that movement and then deliver that signal back to you so you can see for yourself that there's somebody on your property. And
some of these cameras that are out there are sophisticated where they actually have an auto track. They're sensitive to movement. So that's a wonderful feature where they could tilt, pan, and zoom also.
Oh, all on their own.
Correct.
Oh, that's a fantastic thing. So so they can get even better photographs and video just from this superior technology. That's a great thing to have. So it's something that homeowners might want to look into. And again, I'm sure the more advanced you get with the technology, the higher priced it is. But it's all a matter of how comfortable you're going to feel with the security system you choose. So there's a lot of choices out there for homeowners. And
there's also
today.
there are also some other things that, a common sense approach, meaning don't leave items outside the house that could be easily thrown through a window, okay? Or leaving your ladder outside, your tools outside, a hammer. Again, don't make it easy for them. You want to slow them down.
You do, absolutely. Now, here's something that I heard some burglars were doing. And what they were doing is they were going to residences and turning on all of the exterior water faucets. So then the homeowner obviously hears the water running everywhere and goes, what in the world? Steps outside to investigate, and then they get in the house. So what should you do in a situation like that?
Again, there are so many techniques that the perpetrators will utilize to gain access into your home. You're not going to live in a 100% paranoid state. Okay, you have to have a little bit of paranoia. You have to have a little bit of paranoia about you. You have to be observant. You have to be on guard when you're dealing with these types of situations. As an example, someone comes to the door and says, "Hey, you know what? We were just involved in a car accident. We want to come in and use the telephone and call 911." Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not going to open up the door. Okay?
No, me neither.
I'll tell them I'll call 911 for you. And I know I've had an experience, a personal experience within my own family where that actual situation happened, and the person was smart enough not to open up the door, got in a telephone, called 911. They positioned themselves in a room with a firearm, and when the bad guys couldn't get access to it the nice way, they just kept trying to kick down that door.
Oh my! So it really escalated.
Fortunately, the door held. It was a proper door with a proper frame, and it stopped the bad guys from coming in, and the police showed up. So again, you have to use your head. Okay?
And if you have,
really
let's say, again, like you mentioned, if you have these security cameras positioned around, and let's say somebody turns on all your faucets, you can check your security cameras first rather than just running outside. So there you go.
Absolutely.
There's a way of dealing with it that's different. Yeah. And again, these are things that people need to think through ahead of time rather than have a knee-jerk reaction. But certainly having those cameras functioning it just gives you such an advantage over anybody who's going to try to come through the different rings of security that you may have on your property. So you can see them, they can't really see you, so that's a good thing.
Right.
So we've got all these things.
So far as gaining entry into the house, as far as target hardening, as we call it in the trade, making the house difficult for the bad guys to get into, your doors. Okay? That is a major one. Okay? Well, you want to make sure that the bolt throw is. It was always said at least 1 inch. Okay? I know of companies that are out there that are doing 2 to 3 inches insofar as the bolt throw goes. Cylinder guards. You're going to choose a door and a frame that can literally withstand a kick, as I was talking about earlier with the example which happened in my family, or it's hard to open with tools, okay, meaning a crowbar, etc. Okay?
Right.
All right.
That's important because I was reading 86% of break-ins that happen, they're going through the door, not the window.
Right. And if let's say you have windows on the sides of the door, and you want to use a lock that requires a key on both sides, okay? And don't do what a lot of people do is during the daytime they just leave their key inside the door, okay, on the inside of the house. Someone smashes the glass if they can, and opens the door. Okay, so again, you want to think these things through. Don't hide the key. I mean, if you have to you want to be able to get to the house in an emergency, God forbid, a fire. So you want to be able to have the keys nearby. But if you have those windows around the doors, it's definitely a smart idea to have a lock that requires keys on both sides.
Wow. Yeah. See, I never would have thought of that. That's a good one.
Yeah. One of the bad ones, so to speak, is the sliding glass doors.
Yeah, a lot of people have gotten broken into through sliding glass doors. What do you do about that?
Well, again, nothing is a panacea. Nothing is a cure-all. You're trying to slow people down. So what I would do is I would install key locks at the top and the bottom of the doors, or let's say use a wooden dowel in the track to keep it from opening. Some people will put a piece of metal instead of a wooden dowel. If the bad guy wants to, and it's not made out of, let's say, aluminum, they could actually use a magnet to lift that rod up.
Oh my!
Yeah, a wooden dowel is a smart move, insofar as that goes. Okay.
Yeah, so use a wooden dowel rather than a piece of metal. That makes sense. Yeah, because
Yeah.
sliders, that is a really, I think that's an invitation. And I know they're beautiful, and it gives visibility, lets the light in and everything, but if you're building a new house or you're doing renovation, it's something to think twice about if you really want to put those in.
Right. And so, and as far as your primary doors, let's say front of residence or rear of residence, installing a wide-angle view peephole is not a bad idea either. Okay. But what you want to do is have a peephole with a cover to prevent people from looking back with a special tool. Okay, like a reverse peephole viewer.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Okay, so you want to make sure that's covered on the other side, on the inside.
Absolutely. Now, and staying with the doors, your first line of defense is your storm door.
Oh,
I can't tell you how many people will leave their storm door unlocked, and that I just got right by it. Open it up and get right to the front door and start working on the front door, whether I'm going to kick it or work on it with tools. Okay? So, again, lock the storm door, makes it harder for somebody to kick through, okay, because they have to defeat two doors. Now, with the storm door, choose a laminated glass, okay? If it breaks, at least it stays in place.
Right. Well, it makes sense that you would lock all your doors. I mean, I can tell you in a number of communities throughout Massachusetts, smaller towns, people know each other and they don't lock their doors. I mean, that's just a simple thing to do. Lock your doors because, again, you're like you mentioned over and over again, and it's such an important point, you're buying time. If you leave your doors unlocked, you could be standing in your kitchen and turn around and there's the perpetrator. So it's just a simple thing that people can do. Lock the door, whether it's the storm door, the front door, the back door, lock them all. Lock every door.
Well, people have a tendency of dropping their guard. Okay?
Yeah.
And even the garage doors, okay, they're pretty simple to bypass. Okay? A smart thing to do with the garage door is, well, if I'm choosing a garage door, it looks great to have those windows to be able to see outside and get that light into that garage because it's an enclosed room. But myself personally, I wouldn't have a garage door with windows. Again, I don't want to make it easy for somebody to, hey, what's inside there? Hey, that's a nice car. They left their wallet on top of the table in there.
Right, you don't want to give them a lay of the land just by looking in your window. So
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Now, what a preventive method to use is to actually take a zip tie and put it through the emergency release latch to prevent opening with a wire hanger. Okay.
So that's an inexpensive fix. That's a good one. I like it.
Absolutely. Okay. What these criminals will do is they'll wedge the door at the top, a little piece of wood. They'll take a wire hanger, put it straight up to the emergency release latch, pull the emergency release latch, and lift the door straight up. So by you taking that zip, they can do it in about 6 seconds.
Oh, okay? Gosh.
Yeah, and now they're in. So that zip tie is going to block that from happening. If you're going to be away for a long time, on a vacation,
then what do you do?
Well, in addition to zip tying it, you could have actually hasp blocks on the garage door itself.
On either side? That's how you do it?
Absolutely. There's no way they're going to be able to lift that door now. Okay?
See, that's great. That's great. See, this is stuff that people need to think about implementing now, not after it's happened and they're dealing with the fact that they just lost their possessions or they were confronted by someone who assaulted them in their own home. Now, I've got another question for you. Let's back up to the rings of security we've discussed so far. So we've discussed the fence, the gate, the perimeter cameras, the security lights. What about driveway alarms? Do you think they're a good thing to use?
Yeah. These are all wonderful tools, but again, with the driveway alarm is essentially you're going back to the motion sensor. It can be an inconvenience if you're dealing with wildlife. Where I live, I don't have deer crossing my driveway. So if I'm putting a sensor, a beam, let's say, across my driveway to alert me that someone's coming in, I could keep it up high and not have to worry about raccoons or a possum triggering it. Okay?
Right.
So again, if you're in your situation, you've got Mr. Bear there, I'm sure that Mr. Bear is going to be able to trip that sensor.
Oh, yes.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And so that's the thing. You have to kind of make a decision about if you're going to have a driveway alarm and it will be tripped by wildlife, then is that something you can live with? Because I can guarantee, you're so right, people will shut it off and forget to turn it back on, and then somebody can walk up the driveway and you're not going to know, and it's going to be a waste of having that driveway alarm there. So you have to decide if that's something that you can live with, is hearing that driveway alarm going off, and it may just be a deer or something like that. I think it's worth it, and to get used to that, and then you certainly know, you can learn the difference, too. If you have a long driveway and you have several driveway alarms and they go off one after another, that's usually not wildlife. That's usually a person. So that'll clue you in that there's somebody on your property that you don't want there. But again, it's a lot of these things, like you mentioned, nothing is 100%. So if you have these rings of security, we have lots of different security elements to rely on, then you're buying time, and you're also hopefully going to deter them completely, because it's going to catch them. It's going to be the perpetrator in the headlights. So
right. Going back to the garage doors.
Uh-huh.
Most new cars now have the wonderful HomeLink transmitter in them. And when I had my first HomeLink transmitter in my brand new car, I said, you know what? I'm not going to activate this. Someone steals the car, they have the registration in the car, they know where you live, they use the HomeLink transmitter to gain access to your residence. So that's by pushing that button that's up on the visor. Okay?
See, I have an old junky car, so I don't even know what this is. So this is good information that if I ever get a new car, then I know I probably shouldn't activate that button. So tell me more about this button. What does it do?
It actually it's a garage door opener.
Mhm.
Okay. So you don't have to take that little portable garage door opener that we had from years ago, and I still have those portable garage door openers. They're great. I don't leave them in my car. I don't take them with me. Okay. I'll do it the old-fashioned way and get out of the car and press the buttons on the garage door and get my door open. So having a garage door opener or that HomeLink transmitter inside that car is, again, it's making it easier for the person to get into your residence. Okay.
Right. Well, thank goodness I don't have to worry about that. But this is, again, a good point, because some of these things are convenient to use. And this ease of use for all of us is something that also makes it easier for the burglar.
Mm.
So we have to really give that some thought. You know, is the convenience worth putting ourselves at risk that way? And as you said, you wouldn't use it.
No, again, I really don't want them coming into my house.
Yeah, see? And you're a trained professional, and you don't want them in, so we don't want them in either. That's the purpose of this show, is what else can we do? So then the last ring, or one of the last rings that we could talk about today briefly, is our security system. So the alarm system, if somebody gets that far and they come into your house and the alarm goes off. So
well, before you even get into the alarm systems, Patricia, I just want to mention your glass, your windows. Okay. If you have the old-fashioned type single-pane windows, it's not a bad idea to install a protective film. Okay. What that does is, if someone breaks it, the window's not going to fall apart. It won't be easy for the person to gain entry into the home. Okay.
So it's not going to shatter. It'll crack, but it won't shatter into a million pieces. They won't be able to get through it. Okay,
exactly.
Good.
And if you have a good installer, you're not going to have a distortion. When oh my God, this thing looks hideous. It's too thick of a film. Having a proper installation done, you really won't even know the difference. Okay, so having that protective film on the windows, it really works. Many years ago, when I was living in an apartment, I had a door. My front door was glass, and I actually installed that, and somebody broke it accidentally, and it didn't fall apart. It just stayed in place. Okay, so again, it's really going to slow that person down. Again, nothing is 100%, but it's really going to slow them down from gaining access.
Right, and that is the name of the game here. And even, it sounds like the type of product that you wouldn't have to put on every single window if you have a multi-level house. You would put it on the ground floor, correct? That's where you'd use it?
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. People always think that the ground floor is my main area that I have to protect.
Yes, yes.
Some time ago, I had a gentleman come over to look at the siding on my home, and he wanted to get up to the second floor from the outside. And I said, well, I'll get you a ladder. He goes, no, it's not necessary. And he literally hoisted himself up to the second floor on top of the roof.
No way. How did he do that?
Oh, he's a tall fellow, 6'4", 6'5", and he was able to pull his own weight, and he was able to get up there. Now, in one section of my home, okay, right up to the side, and he was able to do it, okay, because I actually dared him to try and get into the window. And he shimmied himself and was able to lift that window up, and with his leg and his arm pull himself into the bedroom upstairs.
Oh my goodness! So you're right.
Always,
so it's not just the ground floor we have to think about here.
You have to think like the bad guy. Okay? You really have got to think like the bad guy.
Wow, this is such an education. This is great, Steve. This is great. Yeah, and you just gave a perfect example of somebody who was able to do that and got right into your second-story window with no trouble.
Right.
So the alarm is the next thing. So somebody then gets this far, and they're able to get through a window or a door. There's some great alarm systems out there. There's monitoring systems, all of that, right?
Yes, there are. There's a variety of them, and again, do your homework. Know what you want. Look at the pros and cons of them. But an alarm system is useless if you're not going to utilize it. Okay, so again, you're in the home at night. Set the alarm. Okay, even if you're in the house, you're doing chores around the house, and arm it. Okay, it's a smart thing to do. Okay, you want to leave the house, just hit your code, and you'll deactivate the alarm so you can get out of the house. Okay, but again, you have to be willing not to drop these things and say, hey, you know what, I'm not worried about it. You don't want to become complacent. Okay,
that's the biggest problem, isn't it? Because you can spend all the money in the world on these things, but if you don't
the alarm system that you'd have, you want to make sure that alarm is going to wake you up. Okay, so you can prepare yourself. Okay, and as I was saying, make sure you educate yourself to the pros and cons of different systems. Okay, some of these wireless systems. This has come up on different shows with the computer types, laptops.
Well, you can watch your house from your mobile phone.
Exactly. Watch what's going on inside your house. There was an incident that happened out in, I believe it was in Nevada, where a hacker was able to actually hack into a baby cam, and he was speaking to the child in the bedroom through the baby cam.
How scary! Oh my!
Yeah. So again, buyer beware. Right?
Yeah, you want to make sure that if you're going to have a wireless system, that it's difficult to hack into, or it's as difficult as they can make it. But you were saying that the wired systems are a lot harder to hack into.
They are. I've spoken to computer specialists about it, and the wire ones are definitely much harder. They're definitely harder. Okay? Motion sensors inside the house. Do you have pets? That's a consideration. Okay? You know, little kitties running around the house and constantly tripping that motion sensor. It's not going to be an option. Okay?
Yeah, because then people will just shut the alarm off and not use it.
In addition to the alarms and alarming the windows and the doors, having cameras inside the house, that's not a bad idea. You could have this concealed surveillance camera. But where you're going to store that hard drive, you have to really think about that, because you don't want the thieves to get it.
Yeah, you don't want them walking away with the evidence. So definitely.
Absolutely.
And a lot of this, I think, it takes a security expert like you, Steve, to help walk people through their options and comparing that to their lifestyle. I mean, you've got to look at, like you said, do they have pets? Do they have cats that are going to be jumping high up into the air and setting the alarm off, or small dogs that won't set the alarm off? So there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, and they need to really have expert security people they can talk to about the way they live their lives to make sure that these systems that are in place are going to be used. Because I know one of the things that I heard, and please tell me if you've heard this as well, is that one of the biggest downfalls of an alarm system is that people set it off accidentally. And when they set it off accidentally, they get used to the fact they're setting it off accidentally. So when it goes off for real, they tend to think somebody set it off accidentally, and it does them no good at all. The person's right in their face before they know it.
Absolutely, and law enforcement experiences that all the time. Okay, it's what we call a chronic location, where a person is actually having an accidental trip. Even commercial businesses, if it happens, it keeps happening, they actually get fined. Okay, so you want to be able to check your hardware, make sure it's functioning correctly, whoever the installer is going to be, whether it's the alarm installer / electrician. You want to make sure these things are functioning properly. Okay?
Right. And also, if you're a homeowner and you're setting it off accidentally, you have to keep remembering to treat each and every event as if it is an intruder rather than an accident.
Right. Now, again, a safe, smart, very smart to have in a house for your valuables. Okay, leg bolted down, not just laying on the floor. Somebody can pick it up and walk away with it. People always think that, hey, a dog is a good noisemaker. They're right. Hey, if you have a little pooch around the house, they're pretty good. They're great at sensing what's coming. Okay, So having a dog is a wonderful thing. The only drawback to having a dog is if someone's conducting a surveillance on you, they're watching what time you're doing your rounds, what time you're walking that dog, who's in the house, which really leads me to the next thing. With the age of the computers, okay, people are giving out way too much information out there, Patricia. Okay, they're going on Facebook. Next week we're going to be going on a cruise, and we're going to be leaving the house on the 1st, and we're going to be coming back on the 30th. You know,
that's a bad idea.
Stop posting your personal information that you're leaving town. Use some common sense. Okay, knowing your neighbors, knowing each other to help each other, that's a very smart move. Some people will say, hey, you know what? I'm going to stop my mail. I tell the post office to stop my mail. No, I'm going to have my neighbor pick up my mail, and I would do the same for them. I want my neighbor to park his car in my driveway when I'm away.
These are great ideas, yes.
Absolutely. Again, it's showing that there's activity at the residence. Okay?
And it's unpredictable activity, so they can't decide what time they should be trying to get in the house. So that's all great information. Good tips.
And, again, it's not that you're being a nosy body, but be aware of who belongs in your neighborhood and who doesn't. Okay?
Yeah.
Make these observations. One technique that a bad guy will use is they'll walk the neighborhood, let's say, with phony flyers. I'm a power washer, and they'll go door to door. Essentially, what they're doing is they're casing your home.
Ugh.
Somebody comes up to them, a police officer drives up. Hey, what are you doing here? Well, I'm handing out flyers for my business. Okay, so again, when are you scheduled to get a delivery? Okay.
Yeah. Right.
You know, again, it goes back to, hey, we had a car accident. I need to use your phone. Call 911. Sometimes, and an old partner of mine brought this up, the bad guys will even use a little kid. They'll be scrupulous to use a child.
Oh,
little child's at the front door.
So
Hey, wow, look at that, little babies, little kids at the front door. What can I do for you? Right away. You're opening up that front door, and if anybody tells me they're not going to do that, excuse my French, but they're full of it.
Yeah,
okay?
It's true. I mean, I think that we've come into a real lack of morality here in our world today, and desperate times, and so you really have to, again, keep raising your level of awareness, as you have said so often, and you're so right to just talk about that over and over again until we all get it, that we cannot be complacent anymore. This level of awareness, we have to work on raising that all the time in our consciousness. And unfortunately, Steve, we have come to the end of our hour. We actually went overtime because this has been such a great show, and you're such a terrific guest with amazing information that we all need to hear and hear repeatedly. So I'm going to have you come back again, and we'll be in touch to make sure that happens. There's so much more security items, tips, armaments. We have yet to get into more armaments to discuss. And, again, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on the show again for the second week.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we're going to do this again. And, everybody, I want to encourage you to visit the Sabrered website, which is S-A-B-R-E, Sabre, Red, R-E-D, .com. Take a look at their pepper spray. It's a great item to have on hand for your personal protection and in your home if, God forbid, the people make it, the bad guys, as Steve calls them. The technical term is the bad guys. The bad guys make it through all of the rings of security and make it through your front door. You want to have something on hand, and the pepper spray is a great idea. So, anyways, thank you all for joining us. We'll be back next week with another exciting show. And be safe out there, everyone. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to tune in next week for another terrific episode of Power Preppers with Patricia Baker.